During the Prime Minister Modi's visit to the United States of America, Obama made a very big statement that India could fall apart if the rights of the minorities are not upheld. This is coming from a man who has bombed 6 Muslim countries during his long 8 years tenure as the President of the United States of America. An estimated 26,000 bombs were dropped, and some of them were even dropped outside the war zones, displacing millions of people and killing many. Now, let's address the real issue here, the rights of the minorities in India, particularly the Muslims. That's what Obama is referring to. Are the minorities in India really discriminated, or are they the privileged class? Let's understand. Now, the whole crux of the debate lies here. In order to understand whether a minority is really discriminated or not, is to just look at the population figure. In India, as per the census of 1951, the Indian Muslim population was at 9.8%, which increased to 14.2% as per the census of 2011. This is some 12 years before. During the same period, the minority Hindu population decreased from 14.6% to just 2.2% in Pakistan. So where did this huge chunk of minorities disappear? Were they converted or were they killed? These are the important questions that Obama needs to ask Pakistan. In 1947, the very basis of partition of India was down on religious ground, with India for Hindu majority people and for Pakistan for Muslim majority. India went on to become a secular state wherein the state does not associate itself with any religion, but the people of the state are free to profess and practice their own religion. Under Article 15 of the Constitution of India, the state would not discriminate anybody on the basis of religion, caste, sex. And under Article 14, the state provides equality for everyone before the law and equal protection of the law. But what about Pakistan? Pakistan went on to become the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, meaning Islam is the state religion and the state makes every possible attempt to promote its religion. Though the Constitution of Pakistan provides equal rights to all its citizens, it gives more privileges to Muslims than to Hindus and other religious minorities. So much so that the important positions of Prime Minister, presidents are reserved only for the Muslims. But in India, anybody can become the president as long as he or she is a citizen of India. And we've had many Muslim presidents, the most prominent being Dr. Abdul Kalam. Since Islam is the state religion of Pakistan, Pakistan has made the teaching of Quran compulsorily in all the schools until the 12th standard. After the partition of India, there were roughly about 428 temples in Pakistan, and 90% of the temples are converted to schools, government offices, restaurants and even toy shops. Classic example being the Shiv Mandir. This centuries-old historic temple was illegally converted into a slaughterhouse of cows. This is a real discrimination. But in India, when it comes to religious practices and the places of worship, it's a privilege of the minorities. Yes, Muslims can manage their mosques by themselves, but the temples are completely under the control of government, which is a secular body controlling the religious places of worship. Lakhs and crores of money and gold are collected on behalf of the religious faith of the people, and this money is used for public infrastructure, and part of it also goes to the funding of madrasas. According to the NCPCR report, an estimated amount of 10,000 crore rupees goes to the funding of madrasas annually. Article 25 of the Constitution says every religious denomination has a freedom to profess, practice and propagate the religion to all. And Article 29 to 30 gives the minorities the right to establish and administer educational institutions. And this institution need not follow the national curriculum. And the classic examples are the madrasas. Such a privilege no other country would ever give it to a minority, where they can decide for themselves what goes into their teachings. These are the constitutional privileges that are available to safeguard and protect the rights of the minorities in India. Now, these can be very far from the reality on ground. In order to get the real perspective, we need to look at the socio-economic conditions to validate whether the constitutional provisions provided are just the provisions on the paper, or is it a reality to provide equal treatment. As per the census of 2011, the literacy rate of Hindus is at 73% and that of the Muslims is at 68.5%. Here, the other minorities seem to do very well, like the Jains having the highest literacy rate of 92%. As per the NSSO data, the average monthly spending of a Muslim household is at 980 rupees, whereas for a Hindu household, it is at 1125, and it is 1543 for a Christian minority. What does it say? In terms of the education and the spending capacity, the minority Muslim is almost at par with the majority Hindus. In fact, the minorities like Jain, Buddhist, and Christians are at a whole different level by topping the list almost everywhere. Now we have seen how the minorities are treated in India as well as in Pakistan. Now let's look at our neighbors to get a global perspective. Uyghur Muslims are the minorities in the Xinjiang province of the northwestern region of China. And China is accused of detaining over 1 million Uyghur Muslims over the past few years in the re-education camps. China has even gone to the extent of banning ethnic minorities' religious practices, destroyed mosques and even tombs. During the Chinese invasion in 1959, over 1 lakh refugees arrived in India along with Dalai Lama. The Tamil minorities in Sri Lanka are the most discriminated, and more than 1 lakh Sri Lankan Tamils have taken refuge in India since the period 1983 to 2009. 99% of the minorities constituting Hindus and Sikhs have fled Afghanistan and taken refuge in India in the 90s during the Taliban regime. This is over 2 lakh people. Rohingyas are the Muslim minorities in Myanmar who are persecuted, and most of them flee to India as refugees. Since partition, about 5,000 Hindus arrived annually in India between the period 1950 to 2020, and an estimated 3.5 lakh people took refuge in India. Over 1 million refugees from Bangladesh live in India. Who are these people? These are the minority communities of Chakma and Ajong who came to India in as early as the 60s, and not to forget the Hindus who flooded the borders during the creation of Bangladesh in the year 1972. So technically, Indian borders were always open for the minorities who were persecuted in their homelands. This brings us to a very important question: can a majority be persecuted in their own home country? Of course not. That's what most of us think, right? But in the 1990s, more than 1 lakh Kashmiri Pandits were driven away from Kashmir from their homeland. Can this happen in Pakistan? Absolutely not. A Muslim majority Pakistan which grew from 85% to 96% since partition. Another important question that we need to ask ourselves: can a majority population decline in India? Of course not. But in reality, yes, it's already happening. Since partition, the Hindu majority population has gradually declined from 90.1% to 79.8% as per the census of 2011. This is some 12 years before. And Hindus have already become a minority in 9 states and union territories. That is alarming. To conclude, the minorities in India enjoy a greater privilege than the majorities, because even the government seems to run most of its scheme to appease the minorities. This can happen only in India, not even remotely in Pakistan, definitely not in the United States of America, and not even in the most secular countries of Europe.